Shalom, shalom. This is Phone Yahshua. Welcome again to the Rock. I wanted to talk about something because I've seen it a lot and it is quite annoying. Being somebody that was raised and lived in the inner city a large majority of my life, I see such a pride when it comes to people's dealings when a crap is a fan situation happens with inner city individuals. Oh, I'm just gonna sit on my roof of my M1 SOCOM, and I'm just gonna, unleash from 1,000 yards, and I'm just gonna sit there with my $2,000 AR-15, and I'm just gonna unleash and hit them from 1,000 yards, and they ain't gonna see what's coming. You hear that a lot. And the perception is that they're just dumb. The inner city just breeds dumb, foolish people. But here's the problem. Being that I live there, being that I do have much experience with um, many types of individuals, I hang around and was around certain types of individuals. They're not stupid and they're not dumb. In fact, you'd be surprised to find out that they are a lot smarter than you think. Many of these people have gone to the military because from the late 1980s to the early 1990s, and especially now, it's booming now. It is booming now, where street gangs, organizations send people into the military to get trained. They'll find that high school guy who is passing his grades and getting a 2.7, 2.8, who's been hanging around this certain set, this certain gang for a while, and they'll tell him, no, don't tattoo your body. Join the military. Stay there. Every time you come back home, teach us what you're learning. Train us. This is happening. You can see documentaries right now where they are finding groups of people who are affiliated with gangs. The military is still bringing in. The military is still bringing them in. They know. This information is going to the streets. And people have this pride to think that, well, my $2,000 AR is going to, well, here's the reality of it. I don't know how many people have been shot or shot at, but a 9mm of a high point penetrates walls just like a 9mm from that 6 hour. People tend to have this pride to think that a 9mm of a high point ain't going to hit you. Let me tell you something else. They have more than high points. Criminals will always be criminals, which is why the law-abiding citizen must always be armed. Because a criminal is always going to have what he needs so he can become and stay a criminal. To take from you, to take from me. But if you really do believe that these people, that those from the inner city, don't have it, I mean, they're getting their hands on stuff that. And my question is, how are they getting their hands on it? When we know how those firearms, ex-military firearms, are ending up in the hands of criminals. But do you really believe that these people are just dumb? They're just gonna, that they don't have training themselves? See, what you do is a lot of people, they watch television, a lot of TV, they watch the news, and they see the low-level, foolish, ignorant, dumb criminal. But you don't see the ones that are working behind the scenes. Those that are trained. There's a story of a gang member. I don't know. It might have been San Diego. Don't quote me on that one. But he was in a shootout with a cop with an SKS. Sliced the pie with that cop and gunned the cop down. Anybody remember the West Hollywood shootout, the bank? And that's in California. A wicked state. Police found themselves outgunned. Completely outgunned. When that story, they went to the gun shop to get some firearms to get that would penetrate the robber's body armor. See, criminals are always going to be criminals, and when we think that criminals don't plan, that they're just impulsive, no, these people plan. They recon. They know. They've learned how to do it. There are criminals that have degrees in certain fields. The best criminal will defeat your security system, especially if your security system is a dog. Unless that dog has specific training, there's a high likelihood. I mean, there was a show that was on it was a news special, and I watched it. And they were simulating break-ins at people's homes. People thought that their dog was going to protect them. They were simulating break-ins in their homes, and people were able to go and pet the dog. They were feeding the dog cookies. They were playing with the dog while they're breaking into the person's house. See, that perception of criminals being dumb, criminals being stupid, inner people being stupid, I'm just going to sit here and pick them off. You're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Oh, I'm not saying you're not, but I'm not saying don't defend your property. No, defend your property. But also start using some wisdom and understand that those from the inner city, because I was from the inner city, they're not ignorant. They're not foolish. And just because they're still there and they are engaged, they're part of gangs, they're part of sets, they're part of cliques, they're part of groups, they are tribes. Whether you like it or not, they are part of a tribe. A lot of the gang warfare that we see today is just tribal warfare that they've been fighting. A lot of them have been living shit hits the fan for as long as they've known. For as long as they have known, it's been a shit hits the fan situation. They fought, they've strived, they many of them killed or threatened to kill to get food, and then to get Nikes and everything else. But they've lived that. See, majority of us here in this country have never had to experience something like that. What it is to be shot at is scary. What it is to be shot, scarier. It's amazing how many people forget their training. Yeah, they go out and they get, expert training, and as soon as they're in a situation, that training is gone, because fight or flight takes over, and for a large majority, it's flight. And even if they engage in the fight, everything's happening so fast that their mind's not able to process the information. So the information is being given to their brain, their mind, faster than they're able to process, so they can never tap into that training. It's not a muscle memory situation for them. How many have ever been in a knife fight? A real one. I can guarantee you, being shot at and stuff like that, being shot, it's a hell of a lot different than what you perceive it to be. This is just from the inner city. There's just a high level of pride to think that I'm just going to do this and they're going to react this way, and it's like a play. In your mind, you have it played out. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy, and it's not. Shit is the fan is not a fantasy. It's a breakdown. Majority of people in this country can't handle a breakdown. You people are jumping out of buildings and resorting to all sorts of stupid stuff over losing a job. They can go get another one, but instead they're willing to take out their family, take out their husband, take out their wife. People don't even know how to handle stress. I look at people on my channel, and you say one thing that they don't like. You say one thing that they may disagree with, and they're gone. Oh, I don't believe in this, Yah thing, so I'm out. People are too emotionally driven today. They don't use faith like they should, as they're not grounded in Yahshua HaMashiach as they should. So they try to use things basing it off of their own logic, basing off of a fairy tale that they have created inside of their own mind. Oh, I heard from a friend who heard from a friend who heard from a friend, or they're drawing conclusions that are not set in truth or in fact, but in opinions. You have to understand that that what life is and what a lot of people from the inner city have lived. It's not what you've lived. They've already learned how to adapt to these sort of situations. And a lot of their adaptations may be, hey, if I don't have it, I'm gonna take it. And they know how to take. They're efficient in how they take. And it's gonna be a word, and they'll use whatever because a lot of these sets and gangs today is not oh, that's a black gang. Not there are black gangs, well, that's a Hispanic gang. No, no, they have transcended that. They now incorporate people of all colors into their set, into their game. Why? Because they know, you know, going to a certain area as a person of color may attract attention. But if I send that person who looks just like them into their area, it may not set off any alarms. I'll send a woman over there. See, they've adapted. They've adapted. So when you think about a crap defense situation, understand that these people have already lived through it. They've lived through it. They've gone without. They've gone striving. They've gone surviving. They know how to take efficiently. And yet you've never been tested with the idea of how to defend. But yet they've been taking for I don't know how long, and you're basing inside of your mind that you know how to defend based off of the idea of what I have. You know, I have this, you know, EOTech this. And for a lot of people, you know, they'll lose their $2,000 AR to a $120 high point. They'll lose it to them. Because you brandishing that firearm and showing it off is doing nothing but drawing attention to you. You feeling that because I have this firearm, I'm protected, it means nothing. It means nothing. Oh, it may give you a distinct advantage in certain situations, no doubt. Oh, I agree with you in that. But let's not make the assumption that a low end firearm doesn't kill. Ask the people in some of these war zones called the inner city whether a low budget firearm kills. See, it's the mind. And as long as we continue to think that I'm safe because I've bought all this stuff, we don't train, we don't have tribes ourselves, we don't have communities ourselves, which is what it's going to take to defend. Nobody here is Chuck Norris or what Sylvester Stallone. We're not taking out, a whole regiment of the Viet Cong and rescuing POWs like Chuck Norris does in what Delta Force and in Missing in Action. We're not going to do that. And it's not a video game. It's not airsoft, where your little BBs may ricochet off of a 2x4. This is real life. I've seen and lived in areas and lived in apartments where bullets zip through the house from one end to the other. Went in through the back, went through those plywood walls or sheetrock walls, all the way out the outside, other side, into the street. And ended up in somebody's car or in a tree. It's not a fantasy. Shit is it's not a fantasy. It's real. And those in the inner city have been living it. Many of us could not even imagine it. We watch movies, we watch Doomsday Preppers, and we watch all this shit on television that gives us the perception that we're ready. What makes you ready? How do you know? Do you have a group? Do you have, and that's why I talk community. That's why, as an Israelite, I talk about fellow Israelites coming together and forming tribes, forming communities. First and foremost, that we can serve the Most High Yah and keep and serve Him and love Him and keep His commandments. Because if we have that working together, if we have that, common unity, if we understand Yah's way of doing things, then we can work together. These gangs got it. The majority of us don't even have a group that we're working with. We're going to go we're going to go through it by ourselves. That's why there has to be order in the home. Because believe it or not, and I'm gonna do a video on this, when the crap hits the fan, think about your home life. Is your wife always confrontational to you now? Is she always argumentative? You think it's gonna stop? Is your husband lazy now? Do you think it's gonna stop? That's gonna permeate into that she hits the fan situation and make the situation 10 times worse. See, I try to present a reality here because there is a lot of fantasy. People like to show their guns. Look at this, this thing shoots. I got 70 magazines right here. They ain't used one of them. They don't know if they're broken. The magazines ain't broken, and they ain't shot not a one round through either one of those magazines. I got this high tactical flashlight. That shoots. A beam of light, and I have this ray gun, and I have this bazooka line. But come on, that's what we have. That's what we're broken down to. But you look at the person, first of all, in a crap event situation, the person can't walk, they can't move, they don't take care of themselves. This is not a fantasy. It's not a video game. It's not like picking up a controller and here you are sitting on your mama's couch, eating donuts all day and not in shape. You don't work out, you don't walk, you don't move, you're not active, you don't do anything. But because you can pick up that controller and make your guy run 200 miles sprinting on the video game, you think you can do it yourself. Got to get real. We also have to remember these situations are going to be bad. These situations are going to be very bad when the crap is the fan. Let's just get out of fantasy land. Hope you're having a blessed day. I have to get back to work.